Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into another sports podcast presented by B-Side in association with WIUX radio station here in Bloomington, Indiana. Hank Joseph alongside Parker Copeland.
What's going on?
On this Tuesday, the first day of October. Boo.
Spooky.
Does it feel a little spooky in here?
Feels spooky to me.
Well, it's going to get a little spooky in the NCAA in 4 years, Parker. You know why?
I have a good feeling that I know why.
Well, I can tell you why. California has passed a state bill signed by the governor called the Fair Pay to Play Act. This is the first signed bill in the history of the NCAA in which college athletes will be able to get paid based on their name, image, and likeness. Now, let me remind you, the schools will not be paying these players, but they will be able to receive funds for their athletic prowess outside of the school's name. Parker, how do you feel about this?
LeBron James and Rich Paul have won. Plain and simple, they got what they wanted. LeBron James literally skipped out on college entirely. He knew that that number 23 jersey that he put on at any university, he would have been taken advantage of. He wouldn't have made a penny out of that. He would have most certainly made money on whichever school wanted him the most.
Also, he was very, very good, and he did not need to go to college.
Absolutely not. He would have got a chunk of change behind the scenes from a school that wanted him the most, but he absolutely would not have made a cent of public money from his jersey. And yeah, so why go to college if you are the best player in the country? You can go straight to the NBA, and as we've seen, it worked out perfectly for him.
Well, ironically, you bringing up LeBron James, he was seated alongside the governor of California and Ed O'Bannon, who filed the lawsuit way back when with UCLA basketball and the NCAA basketball video game. So LeBron James sitting alongside a bill signing college players getting paid doesn't really make any sense other than the fact that he is a recognizable face all around the world. So great job by California to really publicize that bill and put it, in the most powerful hands in the world. But with this bill comes problems, that have been, worried about for years and years and years. And all these athletes have been coming out saying, we need to get paid, we need compensation. What we do is dangerous, especially in football's case. What you do is very dangerous. And, it's a reality. Players can get hurt. And, college sports, It doesn't work out for everybody.
Yeah, no, college sports they're no different than the NFL players that we've seen hold out in the past, like Le'Veon Bell, Melvin Gordon this year. They hold out because they don't want to risk injury whenever they are being grossly underpaid. They don't get me wrong, they signed a contract that they should honor, they should live up to. They should wait to sign a new extension, but if you can sit out and not risk getting injured and get paid like Le'Veon did, it worked for him.
But this is not the NFL. Let's be clear. You can't just sit out in college and then just get paid.
Yeah,
because you're not getting paid by an organization.
It's hard for
you're
college
getting paid by agents.
It's hard for college players because they're not getting paid. If they sit out, they're not going to get drafted. So it creates this atmosphere where college players are put in this position.
If college players sit out, they're not going to get paid either, right? They're going to get paid based on their name, image, and likeness.
We've seen a couple players. We've seen a couple players that have been obviously absolute locks. Nick Bosa a couple years ago sat out. I believe the last couple games of his season.
Yeah.
It's different. There's thousands of college athletes. They can't all be Nick Bosa that know they're going in the top 5.
That's very true. Not a lot of players have lineage like the Bosa family does. But now, if players are going to be allowed to start playing, what do we do about the past and about the players that have already gotten paid? Because, yes, it's very true. At the time, they were breaking the rules. But is it fair to give Reggie Bush his Heisman Trophy back if he really was the best player in college football that year? Because he certainly was. I mean, you average 8 yards a carry and you have 16 touchdowns. That's pretty damn good in college football, especially in the USC. And then, does he get the Heisman back?
I think any event where anybody or any team is stripped of something because of breaking a rule is weird. Like Louisville basketball a couple years ago getting revoked of all their things. I just think it's like it erases an entire page out of the history books.
I agree.
So there's.
I agree.
I think you
it's like
do
nothing
give,
even happened.
I don't think you take Reggie's Heisman to begin with because we don't have a 2006 Heisman winner now. It's
That's
just
true.
It's just blank.
Yeah, I agree.
That's just weird for sports. Not cheating, but breaking the rules is bad for sports too. But it's just.
But clearly, we're bending the rules now.
Oh, rules.
Right? Because we would never break the rules. No,
absolutely not.
Anyways, other news in college football, what's actually happening currently in 2019, we can start with the team that was number one heading into the week and is now not number one anymore. The Clemson Tigers came out this week and put on an abysmal third quarter against the North Carolina Tar Heels. Trevor Lawrence, everybody says, oh, well, he's not what he was last year. He's not the same player. He's not even a number one pick anymore. Some people have been saying that, and let's just calm down. Everybody, let's just relax.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence, come time next year, if the team in the number one spot needs a quarterback, Trevor Lawrence will be the number one pick.
I'm going to tell everybody to relax every single week. Trevor Lawrence has a mediocre game because he's a sophomore quarterback who also hasn't lost a single game in college football.
Oh,
how many games has he lost, Parker?
Zero.
Zero? Is that
that's
so? That's
inaccurate.
No. That's no games.
That's nothing. Yeah.
He's never lost one single game.
Nope.
Okay, so talk to me when he loses. Okay. Yeah. Fair.
Yeah, I think we've got a case here of a Golden State
not
Warriors.
Not reaching expectations, I think, is what the case is.
We might have that, or we might have a case of Golden State Warriors regular season play where they know they're saving their wheels for come playoff time. They know they're gonna get there. They don't get me wrong, Clemson made it awfully close this week. But
yeah, they made North Carolina look like a good football team.
They did. I think it's like a Warriors basketball thing where they kind of save. They don't have this this need or want to play to the top of their ability. I mean, we saw what they just unmantled Notre Dame and Alabama both in the playoffs last year. So like what would change? Like, of course they've lost some starters from last year, but
definitely.
They'll be fine.
Clemson, at the end of the day, is not the best football in college. Is not the best team in college football right now, according to the AP polls, and I would agree with that. Tua Tagovailoa and what Alabama has been able to do with that wide receiving core might just be one of the most beautiful displays of offense we've seen in a long time. And, I mean, Devontae Smith, 258 yards and 5 touchdowns. I mean, dude, share the wealth a little bit.
You get games like that. You get games like that whenever you're
no. You don't get games like that ever.
Okay, no, you don't get games like that. But you you get a little bit of benefit whenever you're playing alongside Jerry Jeudy, who's predicted to be a top 5 pick this year.
Did you see them rock paper scissors
for the
touchdown route?
If you all didn't see it,
that's got to be tough if you're playing against them, and you line up on defense and you see guys rock paper scissors to see who gets to run the post route and beat you by about 15 yards.
Yeah, it's
on a 65-yard pass by Tua. That's got to be pretty
demoralizing.
Pretty demoralizing.
Yeah. Alabama seems like they had a little bit more to play for too. Not this specific game, but just this year in general. After coming off that championship loss to Clemson, then being ranked 2 behind them this season, it seems like they're kind of hungry to regain that top dog spot, which they've done now because Clemson has slacked off a little bit, and Alabama has shown absolutely no mercy to any team they face this season.
And speaking of, I don't know what word you just said, but speaking of Jalen Hurts, you were talking about Alabama trying to prove themselves.
Yeah.
So Jalen Hurts is a man on a mission right now. Dude is putting up Heisman numbers. If you don't think he's leading the Heisman and you think it's Jonathan Taylor, well, that's your opinion. I think you're wrong. Jalen Hurts could be the third Oklahoma quarterback to win the Heisman in 3 years. I 100% believe that. If you watch this dude play, he's a fucking animal.
Yeah.
I mean, he's throwing for 350 yards a game, rushing for another 150 every single game. They beat Texas Tech by 40, and then you know where Jalen Hurts went after?
The gym?
The weight room.
Yeah.
The weight room. I mean, it doesn't stop. He only thinks about football. I think he dreams about playing Nick Saban.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I think he's just waiting for the day to meet Nick Saban in the playoffs, and I certainly think Jalen Hurts could beat Alabama completely by himself.
Yeah. Yeah, this dude's on a rampage. He is.
I want to see Alabama lose.
Single-handedly willing Oklahoma to the playoffs right now. I say either way, he's on some type of track to face Alabama if they win out as a 4 and Alabama holds on to the one spot they currently have as of this week, or if Clemson regains, Alabama falls, maybe they put him maybe
and
they
that's
rank
college football.
Oklahoma 3.
No.
They'll make some type of matchup, I'm sure that'll see Jalen Hurts and Alabama facing off.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens with Ohio State and Justin Fields. I'm still out on Ohio State. I mean, yeah, they always have the talent. I get that, but let's see him play somebody. And with all due respect to Indiana, because we are Indiana fans, and let's talk about Indiana football.
Yeah, let's talk about Indiana a little bit. That was
wow, what a game it was midway through the fourth quarter, and then like right up. Oh man, when we scored and took the lead, beautiful play. Penix looked fantastic.
Penix has been good in his return.
Fantastic.
We talked about Ramsey last week. I think maybe we have Penix in the Ohio State game. That game becomes a little closer too. I'm absolutely not saying Indiana football wins the game over Ohio State.
We'll say they score 17 instead of 10, right?
10?
And so
Okay.
they only lose by 34.
It's fair.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. But yes, Penix, he's got a little bit of a Michael Vick look to him from a left side thrower, a little bit mobile. He's looked good for Indiana. He's been one of our better throwers that we've had recently for sure.
So, I've told you guys I'm from Georgia, so I've been a Georgia fan my whole life. I've watched some very high quality football. You guys have gotten the Colts. I didn't get the Colts, but Indiana University has been bad at football for a very long time. They are currently 6th in the Big East, or in the Big Ten East, 6th. That's last. Okay.
Yeah.
Tom Allen is 4-16 in the Big Ten. Okay, 4-16. Rutgers just fired their head coach Chris Ash after a 3-26 record in Big Ten play. So they gave Chris Ash about a whole nother season and a half than Tom Allen got, or has currently.
Yeah.
I'm on the boat that says maybe Tom Allen isn't the best fit for the program here. I mean, the defense gave up 40 points to a Michigan State team that offensively was struggling through the first 3 weeks, except for their Division I AA game last week. And the rush game is
it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't.
Parker, it's not there.
No.
Stevie Scott against Ohio State, guess what his stats were? 6 rushes for 9 yards. How can your leading rusher 6 rushes for 9 yards?
That's rough.
You know what Peyton Ramsey had? 14 rushes for 14 yards against Ohio State. Granted, he's not a running quarterback, but you get the point. Stevie Scott against Michigan State, who, yes, they do have a very good defense, not as good as Ohio State, but very good. 18 carries for 66 yards.
It's an upgrade.
That's 3.7 yards per carry. You cannot win football games if you run the ball that poorly.
Especially in college. College it's a running game.
Football, 50% of football is running the ball because there's only 2 plays you can do, and it's pass it or run.
Pass or run play. You're right.
So figure it out.
Yeah. Like we talked about last week, the loss of the 4-year left tackle, it's going to hurt. But even before that, the run game was non-existent. Penix has carried the Indiana offense for sure. to what they are
Along with
now.
those wide receivers who make a lot of plays.
They do.
Hale, Wop Filior.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's a name right there.
That's Indiana football.
But on a more serious note, can we get some transparency in the Indiana football program? Michael Penix doesn't play for 2 weeks. He dresses out last week against Connecticut, doesn't play. I mean, what's the deal? Why didn't he play for 2 weeks? I'd like to know. I know a lot of fans would certainly like to know. So just tell us what's going on, Tom, or at least somebody on the team. Just tell us something to just keep our hopes up. Because right now it's 3-2.
3-2.
And one of those wins is against UConn.
Yeah.
UConn.
Southern Illinois.
I didn't even know UConn had a football team until like 4 years ago.
It's rough, but it's looking up, I think. At some point.
Yeah, I mean, Penix is only a redshirt freshman, so I know I'm on a little soapbox right here, but they'll get it. They'll get it.
They'll be all right.
So let's move away from college football and get into some NFL talk from the weekend. We have a lot of big stories. Only 3 undefeated teams remain through 4 weeks, which is pretty shocking. And there were definitely some results this past weekend that had me shook. We could start with the Monday night game since it was just last night. The Bengals are just a dumpster fire of a football team. Andy Dalton looks like he's 47 years old. Cannot place the ball anywhere around the field.
Yeah, and everybody thought Marvin Lewis was the problem. And granted, he might have been.
He was definitely a bit of the problem.
He was a bit of the problem.
But there's way more that's a problem, including that offensive line.
The offensive line and the Red Rocket slinging darts behind it. It's a bigger one.
Red Rocket. I haven't heard that one in quite some time because he hasn't been the Red Rocket, Parker. 0-4 without A.J. Green. When A.J. Green comes back in Week 7, you know what I bet they'll be? 0-6. 0-6.
That makes sense
going in. Going in.
Play 6 games.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Mason Rudolph, hey, way to handle your first win. Your first half, your yards per throw through the air were less than 2, so that's good. But we talked about it last week. You've got to get him started off with some short throws. He's a young quarterback, first year in the NFL, only his 3rd game. So he's gonna figure it out, and I think he's gonna be pretty successful. But the Steelers also should consider losing more games.
They definitely should. At 1-3, they're actually only 1 game back of first place in the AFC North.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, you're right. The Ravens have looked
after a hot start by the Ravens and a slow one, with all the talk of the Browns considering. Slow start for the Browns. The Steelers at 1-3 are only 1 game back of that first place spot, and could have fans saying, "Oh, maybe this isn't impossible."
Nope. Fans are not saying
and
that.
Fans are.
Mason Rudolph will not lead that team.
And fans are stupid. And you're right.
The fans are.
The Steelers need to consider.
We're not calling Steelers fans stupid.
They need to consider not winning football.
We're just saying if you are stupid, you might. No, we're not going to say.
In a battle of the 0-3s, they can.
Yes.
They'll take that one.
In the battle of the 0-3s.
They should.
In a battle of 3-0s, let's talk about the Patriots and the Bills. Tom Brady, you could throw it in there in the same conversation as Trevor Lawrence. He got the job done. It was ugly, but the Patriots got the job done. That's all that matters. The Bills, they're probably not going to be able to win that many games without Josh Allen, so they certainly better hope that he's not hurt, significantly.
He took a stinger to the head. I'm sure he'll be fine.
Okay.
The Bills' defense certainly made your GOAT look like he was 42 yesterday.
Hey, the Bills are a very
Sunday.
good football team.
The Bills?
they're a football team with a good defense
absolutely. They're not 3-0. They weren't 3-0 for a fluky reason. That defense is legit. They don't have much offense going for them. Frank Gore rushed for over 100 yards yesterday.
Oh, and he's up there with talks of the greatest running backs of all time.
And he's old as shit.
Did you see? Well, okay, yeah. I mean, you have to be if you're gonna get as many yards as he did. Number 3 all time rusher. Or he's closing in on Barry Sanders, who's number 3 all-time rushing.
It's impressive.
He became the 4th with 15,000 rush yards. That's a hell of a lot of fucking rushing yards, dude.
He had a stint with the Colts, obviously, 2 years ago. That
what an irrelevant stint with the Colts.
It was irrelevant. It
was an irrelevant stint with the Dolphins, with the exception of one game against the Pats.
Yeah.
It was an irrelevant stint with the Colts, and outside of this record and maybe last game, it might just be an irrelevant season with the Bills as well, but he will retire and he will become a Hall of Famer. So props to Frank Gore. We are so happy
and a top
for
10
you.
running back for sure.
We are so happy for you.
We're happy for Frank
and
Gore.
what you did for the 49ers
You're
franchise.
doing awesome, man. So another current living legend in the NFL, Larry Fitzgerald, moves into the number 2 all-time receiving spot, passing Terrell Owens this weekend. And with that, that's about all we got to say on the Cardinals' whole season.
Yeah.
But the game in particular, Seahawks versus Cardinals, couple of bird teams out in the old NFC West.
Yeah, and the Cardinals just lost because Seattle's just a better team. It's okay. We can just say it how it is.
Yeah, so Fitzgerald moves past
If you
T.O.
thought Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray were going to be a duo made in heaven, you're a fool. Because Kyler Murray is a freshman or a rookie, Cliff Kingsbury is a rookie head coach in the NFL. And they will not have it figured out, and the air raid offense will remain in the hands of the Rams and the Chiefs as of now. But the Cardinals can't figure it out because Kyler Murray has the tools to get it together. Moving on from the Cardinals and the Seahawks, we can stay in that division and go on to the Los Angeles Rams, baby, who found a way to get embarrassed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Not to mention Jameis Winston is playing at a very high level these last 2 weeks, throwing for 3 touchdowns and then 4 touchdowns both weeks over 300 yards.
Yeah, the supposed stout Rams D was indeed embarrassed by who has been one of the laughingstock QBs of the league.
Who has embarrassed himself multiple times.
Absolutely.
But he said, hey, we're going to eat a W today. And then what did they do?
Since the eat a W speech, I'm pretty sure the Buccaneers have won like 2 games or something like that.
Make it 3.
In games that Jameis Winston starts.
Oh, yeah, because they had Fitzpatrick playing last year.
Yeah.
Well, famous Jameis is back, and once we figure out how to put some editing on the flash drive, we'll play some college interviews with him because they are something you can't miss as far as entertainment-wise. They're pretty amazing. He says some goofy things.
He's a goofy guy. Bucks upset Rams 54-40. Goff throws for 517, which is actually the 8th most yards in a single game in NFL history, and still lose by 15 to the Buccaneers.
When you turn the ball over 4 times,
he turned the ball over
hurt you,
4 times. He had 3 interceptions and a fumble.
Oof.
And the defense allowed the most points. They allowed the most points the Rams have ever given up in 63 years.
Do you remember when Jameis was in college in his last game and he played Oregon and they got destroyed by Oregon? And there was that last play where he was dropping back and he tried to get the ball out while getting sacked, and he just fell backwards and threw the ball like it literally just fell out of his hand. That's what Jared Goff looked like yesterday when he got strip sacked. He fell, got sacked, threw the ball in the air, fumble, and the rest was history. So the Buccaneers pick up a huge conference win.
Yeah, maybe.
And I'm shocked.
Maybe Arians is finally maybe he's the Jameis whisperer.
That'd be awesome because I want to see Jameis do well because Jameis is a very, very talented quarterback.
Yeah, I think a lot of people want to see.
He makes horrible decisions.
He freaks out a lot.
He makes horrible decisions.
Under pressure, he's makes some goofy throws like the goofy dude he is. Speaking about that Oregon game, that's the last time we saw or not the last, the first, I guess. First and last, I suppose. Whenever we saw Jameis and Mariota facing off in college, and who ended up being the 1 and 2 picks in the draft that year, and really neither one of them have panned out. So while we're on the topic, let's jump over to Titans-Falcons in a game that was...
Well, Marcus Mariota just saved his starting role.
He did.
If he would have lost to the Falcons, I believe that they would have gone with Ryan Tannehill, or at least they would have started seriously considering it, because Marcus Mariota, like you said, has not panned out for the Titans. He had 2 seasons in which he took them to the playoffs, and both times they lost in the first game. And the Titans just constantly look lost in games that matter. But pick up a big win against the Falcons, and as somebody who's from Atlanta, my brother went to the game this past weekend, and he left at halftime. So that's all you need to know about the Falcons season.
Yeah, that's the story of the Falcons.
And how Atlanta people feel about what a waste of talent that team is.
Absolutely. I don't think that.
Like, I've never seen so many ballers on one team that just can't put it together. Because at least the Browns have won 2 games.
Yeah, they're there. I think the Browns are coming around. They started slow.
The Browns haven't gone to the Super Bowl either with the same head coach.
Yeah, I think that the Falcons clearly, they just don't look as good as they and
but how?
a lot of people expected before the season. I don't know why. Matt Ryan's having not an inconsistent career. Matt Ryan's always been a decent passer, but
I mean, I don't understand, if you're the Falcons, how Matt Ryan throws for 390 yards and he goes 35 for 53. Matt, you can't throw the ball 67% for 400 yards and 0 touchdowns. Put the ball in the end zone. Find a way. Because if Dan Quinn can't do it and your offensive coordinator can't do it, then somebody like you who's won an MVP should be able to figure it out. So that's a little call to Matt Ryan. Get your shit together. All right? Because Julio Jones is on my fantasy team, and he is really struggling.
I'd agree with that. Titans pick up the win.
Sorry.
Go up to 2-2 on the season. AFC South is all knotted up 2-2, all 4 teams. It's really a toss-up on who could run away with that one. The Falcons take a loss in back-to-back weeks to, like I said, average AFC South opponents, and Titans and Colts. They all moved to 2-2, and the Falcons, it's probably about that time. I mean, we've seen crazier comebacks, but
and the thing is, they're 1-3, which, like, in reality is not a big deal because that's only 1/4 of the season.
Yeah.
But give the fans some hope, at least. Give them something to believe.
Yeah. Colts started 1-5 last year, put it on a 9-game winning streak, and it turned around 10-5. We've seen crazier turnarounds.
Yeah,
but
who is the Colts quarterback?
a really good one.
Yeah. Well, Matt Ryan was a good quarterback, at least for 1 year.
Yeah.
So we can talk about the Colts. Jacoby Brissett looked pretty horrible. You sat up here, last week, and for all you 11 viewers who listened, will remember, Parker stated, Jacoby Brissett is the future of the Colts. Well, Parker, if Jacoby Brissett is the future of the Colts, he cannot be having games like this.
It was a bad all-around day for the Colts offense. A couple weeks ago, we lost.
You're right, it was. Why did Marlon Mack have 30 rushing yards behind that offensive line? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. Stifling Oakland defense? Question mark. Yeah, I don't know. Bad day overall. Bad play calls. Bad decision making on Brissett's end. We're down Devin Funchess obviously early in the season with a broken collarbone and out T.Y. Hilton for the day. Obviously, whenever you're down T.Y. Hilton, that limits the big play opportunities. They can not worry so much about the long game and kind of clamp down on the run game and the short passing.
Good win for Oakland, though. They're 2-2. So let me give you teams that the Oakland Raiders have a better record than. The Detroit Lions, the Redskins, the Cardinals. They have the same record as the Vikings, better record than the Broncos, better record than the Bengals, Steelers, Falcons. Okay. What I'm trying to get at is that Oakland Raiders technically are the middle of the pack of the NFL right now. So let's just give a round of applause. Let's give a round of applause to the Oakland Raiders
for delaying the inevitable losing season that's about to come up in an attempt to put on a show for their last season.
They just have to make it look like they care about winning games.
Exactly.
So they can go 2-2 now, and then they'll probably go 2-12 in the rest of the season. Or sorry, 2-10. 4-10. That's a successful 4-12. That's a successful season, and you're getting a lottery draft pick. Not a lottery in the NFL, but top 10 guaranteed.
You're getting a top 10
top
pick
6
before you move to Las Vegas. You're gonna have new fans. You're gonna have this top 10 pick that the fans will want to root for. They'll have this new team that they want to root for. Oakland's just trying to put on a show.
And Derek Carr's trying to save his job.
Oh, absolutely. He just signed.
He is playing for his job.
He is the, third highest paid quarterback in the league? Since Andrew Luck's gone, he might even
that is so tragic.
move up to 2.
That is so tragic.
I'm not sure about that now. But yeah,
he's up there, though. He's up there.
He's top 3 for sure. And which is just sad because the dude doesn't look like he can lead the offense like he was prior to the contract. The Raiders had a stupid good season, 12-4, 11-5 or something like that.
Yeah. Also the same season that Falcons went to the Super Bowl, so
which is starting to look
that's ironic.
A bit fluky now.
That's ironic. Okay, we can jump around to really any game. Minshew Mania is still a thing. Kind of. They won. I wouldn't call it mania anymore, but they won.
The dude has fans going crazy, I think, more over his physical appearance and wacky personality. Absolutely over his...
Yeah, I'd say that for sure. Over his play. But his play has gotten them wins.
His play's
It's gotten them wins.
New Orleans moved... Or not New Orleans, my apologies. Jacksonville moves to 2-2 now in the Jalen Ramsey season, which I guess we'll call it that.
No, come on.
We'll call
this
it,
is
we'll
the
Minshew season.
This is Minshew's season.
All right.
This is not Jalen Ramsey's season. He's technically not gone yet.
He's trying to make it about himself.
I mean, he's trying to get out of Jacksonville.
He's trying to steal
He's trying to get the hell out of Jacksonville.
Minshew Mania continues to sweep over the NFL, but Leonard Fournette quietly ran for a career-high 225 yards. I guess you can't call it quiet whenever you were rushing
quiet.
for. It wasn't heard around the NFL, I guess.
Yeah.
The Ramsey list, once again, defense had its first takeaway, and Josh Lambo nailed a game winner with no time left on the clock. And like we said earlier, knots the AFC South up at 2 for all the teams in the division. They would have been.
So who do you think is going to win that division? If they're all 2-2.
Obviously, a biased opinion assumes that Jacoby Brissett will turn it around whenever he gets his receivers back, and the Colts will take it.
Okay, but I don't want your biased opinion.
But
I want your honest opinion.
Unbiased opinion tells me that the Jaguars defense still looks very good. They let Denver put up 24 on them.
But that's not the answer that I'm looking for, Parker.
I say it's the Jaguars still. Minshew stays hot. I think we get a lot of first-year quarterbacks like this that teams don't really know how to figure out. He'll probably be nothing in a season from now. But they'll ride his hot hand.
Well,
they'll continue with a stout defense.
Okay.
And
stop. You're disgracing the Houston Texans. Disgracing them. They are still the best team in the AFC South.
I don't think they were the best team last year. I think the Colts won the division last year.
With Andrew Luck. Not Jacoby Brissett.
It's a toss-up, man. After week 1,
no,
when the Tennessee Titans blew out the Browns,
you can say it's a toss-up, but I'm telling you, when you get Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller all together on the field, and they're all healthy, that is a different beast that you're trying to guard in the passing game. Deshaun Watson, let me remind you, his IQ is through the roof. And you don't really get to see it a lot because his offensive line is not that great, so he has to make a lot of plays by himself. So credit Deshaun Watson. He's going to beat the Colts both times this year. Predicting it now. Another sports podcast, Hank Joseph, right here. You can bet on those.
Count it. All right. So let's talk about the Texans then. Texans lose this week, 16-10 to Carolina.
I'm aware.
Like Teddy Bridgewater, Kyle Allen leads his team to a second win despite their MVP caliber QBs out.
The Houston Texans don't have that much tape to watch on Kyle Allen. He's only played like 2 NFL games.
So it's like the Minshew thing? It's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
nobody
I'm
knows
saying
what's
it's a young
going on.
quarterback, and it's like, whoa, how do we prepare for this guy? He doesn't have any film. He can't.
I'm sure before
You can
the
only
season,
look at the plays.
Yeah, I'm sure before the season they have like some type of like get together for like every game of the season. They're like, oh, we've got Cam Newton, and then all of a sudden it's Kyle Allen. They're like, whoa, this is harder than Cam Newton because that's probably what they were saying.
Technically,
right?
Kyle Allen is definitely playing better than Cam Newton was before Cam Newton was taken off the field. So, in a sense, yes. Obviously, I was being sarcastic. The Panthers just beat them straight up.
Yeah, with the beast Texans offense.
I'm telling you, I'm
week.
just telling you, they always turn it around.
So yeah, even with the addition of Laramie Tunsil at the beginning of the season and the trade,
that takes time. You can't just mold an offensive lineman.
The Texans O-line cannot seem to keep Watson from getting killed every game.
Just watch.
He's a scrambler, so he's gonna get killed every game.
No.
But
he's smart. He'll be fine.
He's a smart quarterback. He has a good sense of defense, what's going on around him. And you're right. It takes a while for offensive lines to mesh. Certainly, it took 7 years for my Colts offensive line to mesh. So,
and Tunsil's exit from the Dolphins must have really, really, really hurt them emotionally because they lose again. This time to the Chargers, who have looked very, very, very shaky. I said that last week. And the Chargers beat the Dolphins 30-10. Yeah, that's a win. I mean, Josh Rosen, he's trying. The Dolphins don't really look like they're all trying. They could go 0-16. I mean,
I think that they are the most likely candidate that we've had in a while to go 0-16, other than obviously the Browns that we had a couple years ago that were just atrocious. This team will I think they're probably more likely to go 0-16 than they are to get a win.
Yeah, I mean,
you look at their schedule.
You're getting outscored in 4 games by 137 points.
That's an NFL record, folks.
A hell of a lot. That's a hell of a lot of points.
That's a lot of points.
4 games. That's 35 a game. I mean,
yeah.
Keep it respectable. This isn't Georgia against, Eastern Illinois. This isn't Indiana against UConn. It's 2 NFL caliber teams. And people are always like, "Oh, well, do you think that the best team in college football could beat the worst team in the NFL?" And I'm saying, yeah.
Oh, you are saying
I'm
yes.
saying yeah.
Oh.
If you take I'm taking Clemson from last year.
Clemson over Alabama.
I'm taking Clemson from last year because
Okay.
we haven't really seen the full potential of the teams this year.
Okay.
So I'm just for comparison purposes. Yeah. I think if you give me Trevor Lawrence and you give me that whole Clemson team and you put out Ryan Fitzpatrick or Josh Rosen on the Dolphins right now, yeah.
All right.
I think it's definitely reasonable to bet on Clemson in that game because they'll win.
I think it's reasonable to say that incredible Clemson defense from last year could stunt this just atrocious Dolphins offense with Josh Rosen. But
granted that Clemson team is historically, one of the best ever.
Yeah.
Because they did not lose a game.
And they blew out
Alabama.
The 4
yeah,
and
they blew out
2
Alabama.
or whatever it was.
Blew out
countries
Alabama.
in the nation. Yeah.
But the Dolphins are also, obviously, as you just said, historically bad. So, something to keep in mind. If anybody has that power to make that game possible, we should get on that. We can go to the Browns and Ravens. And it was close the majority of the game. And then all of a sudden, Baker, he just took over. And the Browns, I mean, they beat the Ravens, who have lost their last 2 games to 2 of maybe on paper the most talented football teams in the NFL, the Chiefs. I mean, Patrick Mahomes speaks for himself.
Absolutely.
And then, the Browns, that's what everybody's been talking about before the year. We talked about it last week. The talent is there. Is Freddie Kitchens going to be the savvy play caller that he was last year and get wins? Or, I mean, is he going to
Be the
put
awesome
Baker Mayfield in a position to throw multiple interceptions
and run draw plays on
on 4th and 9?
4th and 9.
But it's not all about Baker Mayfield and Odell and Jarvis Landry, is it? Because Nick Chubb ran for how many?
Nick Chubb ran for 175, I think.
Yeah, he had that 83-yard run, and then he had, what, 2 other touchdowns?
He had a
I mean, 2 of them were.
Yep, he had a hat trick, touchdowns. He had an 88-yarder. He broke off.
And the
Ravens' defense is supposed to be good.
The Ravens' defense. What happened?
The Browns just ran it down their throat. You said it wasn't about Mayfield and OBJ, but OBJ, per usual, was certainly trying to make it about himself.
Yeah.
Him and Marlon.
That's just classic OBJ.
Him and Marlon Humphrey got into a little scuffle in the game, which led to OBJ throwing punches Marlon's way and Humphrey retaliating and putting him choking him out on the ground.
Well, Ravens released a video today that showed that Marlon Humphrey did not choke out Odell Beckham Jr. So keep in mind that it literally came out like 45 minutes ago. Ravens.com, look it up. But Odell Beckham Jr. just has this competitive edge where if he's not playing well, it's just really easy for the defender to get under his skin. I mean, Odell only had 20 yards. Jarvis Landry had 160 before he got hurt.
That's the combination you get. It's like
Devontae
Smith combination in Alabama. It's like Odell.
Yeah, but Devontae Smith doesn't fight people. Not yet.
So is Odell, is it his competitive spirit or is he just a crybaby?
A crybaby is a term that people like to use about NFL players and calling them divas or whatever. I don't think that that's reality. I just think that mentally there's just a different gear in there that says, if I'm not playing well, there's a reason for it, and it's because of this person standing across from me. So their first instinct is, hey, we just got to go at him.
Yeah, like whenever
he's just mad. He was just mad. He's a hose mad, That's what it is.
Yeah.
Hose mad.
Like, if I were to be losing 2K, which I never do, but if I was, I would immediately just put my friend.
No, if you're losing 2K, you stand up.
you
stand up. You're getting in front of the TV. You're like
on the edge of your seat, and you're
100%.
like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was playing 2K the other day, and thanks to this Indiana Wi-Fi, I got cut out in the middle of my game. I had a career high 33 points. So that's awesome. I love 2K. 2K's great. But back to real sports.
Basketball's a real
I think
sport.
we covered all of. Oh, we didn't. We missed the Chiefs. Okay, well, with the Chiefs Lions was, I don't know what. I don't understand why the NFL is the way that it is.
Yeah, let's not brush that game off like it's nothing.
That Matt Stafford puts together a fantastic game, or at least a fantastic comeback against the Chiefs, but then in games against people like the Colts and like the Titans, and when it's just like a very mediocre team, he struggles mightily. Granted, Chiefs defense is not as good as it actually has. Chiefs defense hasn't really been that strong in the past few years. They've been Andy Reid run offensive team.
Chiefs defense is 19th in the NFL right now in passing yards allowed. The Lions looked like they were going to be off to a hot start this season. Matt Stafford looked like he was going to have one of those type of seasons when they went up 18 on the Cardinals, and it all fell apart. And you think, okay, never mind. Matt Patricia is that coach, or not that coach, I guess. But then they bounce back. They get a good win against the Chargers, who've been shaky this year, but the Chargers are a good football team. They come into next week. They get a good win against the Eagles, who beat the Green Bay Packers this week. And then this week, the Lions come and are up 3 on the Kansas City Chiefs. On the Kansas City Chiefs, they're up 3 points before Patrick Mahomes does this thing. And
well, it wasn't even. Mahomes threw a good pass to Kelsey, but it was the lateral from Kelsey to Shady McCoy that was really something else. And those are the kinds of plays that you see with a team like the Chiefs when you've got all that talent. You can afford to do things like that. And I mean, Kelsey, if he's not such an athlete, that's easily a fumble from a lot of tight ends.
People always.
I mean, he was getting tackled, and he literally tossed
the strength. People always ask why don't they do that more often? It's not as easy as it looks. It's not. It's risky. You might not see a player coming from the other side.
Yeah.
So Mahomes has the first game of his young, incredible NFL career that he does not throw for a touchdown, but the Chiefs still put up 30 points, and he throws for over 300. So if this is a bad day for Patrick Mahomes and co., like what is the NFL supposed to do?
They'll be fine. Yeah, they lost. They've proven that they do lose games, Patriots beat them last year. And Mahomes is still only in his second year, so once playoffs come around, nerves are a legitimate thing, and we'll see if he's got what it takes to push his team over the hump, because it's all going to come down to him. If they lose and that defense gives up 70 points, you know what they're going to say? Mahomes should have scored more. I mean, that's just the reality of the expectations that he's put on himself.
The media just
we are the media.
We're the media. Sure,
we are the media.
But oh my god.
And we need Mahomes to play bad sometimes.
Matt Stafford throws a dime in between four very
what a beautiful throw.
What a beautiful tight throw. Chiefs defenders.
What a beautiful throw.
Awesome throw, but that doesn't get talked about as much as Mahomes running for 15 yards, and he looked backwards at the ref for a second to make sure there wasn't a flag thrown or something, and that's the highlight of the Chiefs-Lions game. Patrick Mahomes looked backwards on a 15-yard run, not this Matt Stafford dime.
It sounds like you've got some pent-up anger.
I don't got
sports
beef.
media on the Chiefs.
I don't got beef. I love Mahomes, but it's like whenever any sports league, like ESPN, whatever, they get this player that they can show off.
It's LeBron James, it's Zion Williamson, it's Patrick Mahomes, it's Tom Brady, it's everybody. It's the best players in the league because that's who you market the most.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when Patrick Mahomes makes a no-look pass, it's pretty fucking crazy.
It's cool whenever he makes a no-look pass,
it's pretty crazy.
But whenever he makes a no-look run,
it was a look run.
He looked backwards.
The fact of the matter is that the Chiefs won the game, and right now they're the second best team in the NFL. But let me tell you, the 49ers are undefeated, and they didn't play last weekend, and they are definitely not the third best team in the NFL. So we'll see what happens when some of the best teams in the league do square up against each other. And, I'm not really a huge baseball guy. I'm a huge Braves fan, not really a baseball guy. Parker's a big Cardinals fan. So, MLB playoffs start this week, actually start tonight. The wild card games are tonight, right?
Yes, I believe Milwaukee and Washington square off tonight.
Okay,
in Washington,
DC. Yelich is done.
Yelich has been done for the season,
the Brewers.
But since he went down, the Brewers have been the hottest team in baseball. They just got swept this last weekend, which allowed the Cardinals to
Wait. They were the hottest team in baseball, but they got swept?
So, since Yelich's injury, they went, in the next 16 games.
Which was when, September, 10th, 6th?
In the next 16 games after Yelich's injury, they went 14-2.
Oh, that's okay.
They were hot. They were one game down.
They were 14-5.
They were one game down of the Cardinals for the Central, and then going into that weekend, Cardinals lose 2 to make it interesting. They're like, "Hey, Brewers, go ahead and take our division real quick."
I got it.
The Brewers get swept by the Rockies on, I think 2 nights of two walk-offs in a row, and the Cardinals send the hottest pitcher in baseball, and Jack Flaherty, to the mound to clinch the division. I was at that game. Incredible. But so my Cardinals, your Braves.
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, see, your prediction is Braves?
Here's the deal with the Atlanta Braves. And most people won't understand this because you haven't watched Braves baseball. Because why would you? We haven't won the World Series since 1995.
Yeah.
So I wasn't born then. I know Parker wasn't born then. Nobody finishing a four-year degree here was alive then.
By 1 year, yeah.
Yeah. So the Braves have been such a mid-market, mediocre team for so long, and And it's this year, next year, and the year after that. Well, they still have Ronald Acuna, Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies under contract. That's going to be their chances to win, because baseball is one of those things. I mean, we haven't seen dynasties in quite some time. Since what? When did the Cardinals win 2 years? They won 2010, 2012, 2012, 2014.
We won the World Series in 2011.
2011.
And that was the last one we've had, and then 2006 before. The MLB hasn't had a repeat champion since like I think 2000, 2001
Exactly.
Yankees.
So it's not really like a dynasty kind of thing in baseball going on right now.
And the Red Sox are already out of it this year, so that's another year.
That's last year, exactly.
That
yeah.
will not have another repeat champion.
So the Braves have a chance. Do I think that they can beat the Astros or the Yankees? No. Do I think they could beat the Dodgers? Maybe. I think they'll beat the Cardinals? Yeah. I think they'll beat the Cardinals handedly. Hopefully in 4 games. Hopefully in 4 games. The Braves
first round of the playoffs
statistically are the best batting team in the National League.
They're super good. The first round of the playoffs is best of 5 for whatever reason in the MLB. So
because
it's best
baseball
of 4,
games take so freaking long.
Is best of 4 what your thing is, or is it best of or in 4 or in 3? Are you saying a sweep?
No, I'm saying in 4 games. I'm saying 3-1.
Oh,
I think the Cardinals take 1 at home.
But
then I think the Braves win the next game at home.
The Braves and the Yankees are the best hitting teams in the league, except the Braves kind of seem to leave out the other whole half of the game, the pitching part. They're not bad.
We don't do it intentionally. We do it because we're bad at pitching, okay? First of all. So watch it. Yeah.
And so, they're not like the Dodgers, Astros, or
our relievers just
Yankees.
haven't been there this year. They just haven't been there. And we did deal with injuries.
Yeah.
As does every team.
Yep. So, to give a full picture, we got Brewers and Nationals tonight to get to see who gets to lose to the Los Angeles Dodgers in the first round.
3 games, yeah.
Yeah. Then we got the Cardinals, Braves, as mentioned, on the upper side of that bracket to see who gets to face the Dodgers in the next round. On the AL side, we got the Rays and Athletics facing off in the wildcard game tomorrow night to get to see who loses to the Astros. And then on the upper side of that bracket, we got the Twins and Yankees. And I'd love to see the Yankees lose the Astros in that, because I just despise the Yankees.
Oh, so you've already discounted the Twins completely.
The Twins are not built for postseason baseball.
Interesting.
They hit bombs. That's it. They hit a bunch of solo bombs.
But it seems like bombs are built for the postseason.
Usually, unless
because you don't see a lot of games in the postseason that are like 10-8. You see them like 3-1.
All right, yeah, okay, I could see that, especially with New York losing German for the rest of the postseason. That's a big loss. I say if the Twins pitching gets it together, they maybe hit a couple solo bombs. Like, that's enough to win the game. Giancarlo Stanton just came back for the Yankees,
so probably not.
That offense is
You're saying it's Yankees Astros
Aaron
easily.
Boone said the Yankees are fucking
and then you're saying
savages in the
easily
box.
Dodgers. So the only conflict obviously is in between our games. Yeah? All right.
Yeah.
Well, we will see Thursday night when those 2 teams face off. Thank you guys for listening in to another episode of Another Sports Podcast presented by B-Side in association with WIUX Radio here in Bloomington, Indiana, from Hank Joseph and Parker Copeland. Thank you guys for listening. Please tune in next Tuesday from 1 to 2 and listen to episode 3.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Bye.
Later.